Welcome to chapter 21 of the book of Revelation, one of my favorite chapters because it's a travelogue of where I'm going to be going. I'm 75 years old now, and I don't like to travel. I'm not going to probably be traveling much anymore in my life, unless God has something planned that I don't know. But I will be in the New Jerusalem, as it will point out here, and I get to see what it's all about here with this travelogue of John. It begins, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth passed away." Parilthe. So it left, it went. Now where it went, this earth and its atmosphere, and no sea any longer, it says, and the sea is not any longer, I don't know, but it went somewhere. "And the holy city, New Jerusalem, I saw coming down from God, from out of the heavens." So God sends down a place called New Jerusalem, and John sees it, and he says it's as being prepared as a bride, being adorned to her husband. A lot of people think the bride is the church, but it's not. It's the New Jerusalem. I'll go through sum up the attributes of the New Jerusalem, and then we'll keep on going through this chapter. And basically, the New Jerusalem is something that was luminescent, that like a precious stone, it says it was sparkling. It's tetragonal in shape. That is, it was four-cornered. Now, it gives the measurements in stadia, 12,000 stadia, which is 1,400 miles. But it gives it says, in the length, the width, and the height. So therefore, this tetragonal, four-cornered, is a cube. Now, a cube would have 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess 8 corners. So I don't know. That's beyond my understanding there, but it's four-cornered, but yet again it has a height to it. It's 12,000 or 1,400 miles. But it says it's equal. So it had to be 1,400 miles high also. Apparently it just gives the dimensions of it as flat, but then it gives its height. It has a wall that's 225 feet high. It's attached somehow to this cube. And on this wall are 12 foundations. It's built on 12 foundations. And that, like I said, wall is 225 feet high. That's fairly high. 225 feet. And these 12 foundations have the names of the 12 apostles inscribed upon them, and each foundation is made of a precious stone, and it goes through that, and we'll read about the stones. And then there are 12 gatehouses, and a gatehouse is in the city, it was a hole in the wall that had a gate inside of it, but it was like, the walls were like very thick. They were like 25 feet thick. They could ride chariots on them in the old Roman days. So this room that's inside of the wall where the gate was is called the gatehouse. And it has an angel upon each gatehouse, and with the names of the 12 tribes of Israel, and it says that the gate was made of pearl. The gatehouse is of pearl. The edifice, which is a projection, is on the corners, probably was made out of jasper. The city itself inside, once you went in there, it says it's pure gold. It looked like transparent glass. Well, now what that means, that gold is shining, but yet it's a transparent glass-like thing, and I'm not sure how, if it's got streets, doesn't say. It does. It says there's no temple in this New Jerusalem, because it says the Lamb is the temple. So it doesn't need a temple. Was a place that God came on the earth, but this place is all inhabited by the Lamb. So there's no need for this temple. It says that there's no light there's no need of a light in the city, New Jerusalem. There's no sun nor moon, nor is there a night. For God will give her light. The nations will walk by her light. So when it says there's nations, so somewhere the earth has moved to, and there's people on it, there's nations on it, and these people, it says that the kings of the nations of the earth, the kings of the earth, shall bring her glory and honor. So some type of a spaceship, and they go there and they give her glory and honor to the ones on this cube. It says it's only inhabited by the ones whose names have been written in the scroll of the life of the Lamb, and that nothing unclean can enter into the New Jerusalem. So now we go through here, and the episodes of John, we have 89 to 95 in this 21st chapter, and the first one was John narrates what he sees in verse 1, and then 2, he sees again the New Jerusalem, and then now 3 to 4, an angel describes what's going on, and John hears. He says, "And I heard a great voice, or a sound from out of the heavens, saying, Behold, the tent of God is with men, and he shall pitch a tent with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them." So when we're in the New Jerusalem, God is going to be there. We'll see him in the form that he allows us to see him in a way. We're going to have new bodies, so we'll have different types of eyesight, I suppose, spiritual perception, possibly. "And he shall wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death will not be any more, nor mourning, nor crying, nor misery. It shall not be any more, for the first things departed." So this is the description that the angel gives. Now, he says he's going to wipe away every tear from their eyes. Well, now, this might be hard to handle. It's something I think about, and it's like, well, things that make me sad are the bad things that have happened to me on this earth, and I could cry about them. But what happens if it's wiped away? What happens if God gets in there with a rag and wipes your memory clean? You don't have a memory. You couldn't possibly be sad because of all these things, because you don't know about them. All of a sudden, you're a new person, and you don't have these things anymore. You're not going to suffer death, and you're not going to be mourning anybody dying, because you're not going to see people dying, your friends or anybody. You won't be miserable. You have all kinds of food. Everything will be taken care of, because all the first things have departed. So it'll be a completely different experience for us now. Some people would have a hard time. They want to hold on to those old memories and hurts and so forth, and some people live off of them. And this is not what God wants. He wants a new creation, new creature that serves him in wonder and praise, and gives him the honor and everything that he deserves, and he takes care of all the other things. We won't remember them. And now in verse 5, it goes from 5 to 8. It's one sitting on the throne, narrates from 5 to 8. It's number 92 in the episodes. You can get it in our book and see it. "And said the one sitting upon the throne, Behold, I make all things new. And he says to me, Write, for these words are true and trustworthy." So everything is new. And this is what's going to happen. He says it's true and it's trustworthy. I'm going to make it all new. We are going to be new, just like we were new coming out of the womb. Opened our little baby eyes, and wherever we saw, and grew into adult, teenager to adult, and seeing what we see. And the same, I think, is going to be in the New Jerusalem with God. We are going to open our eyes, and it's going to be, whoa, it's going to be unbelievable. It'd be like a new birth in a way. "And he said to me, It has taken place," then he more or less, "the Alpha and the Omega. He's the Alpha, the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. The Alpha is the first letter of the Greek alphabet, and the Omega is the last letter of the alphabet. The Logos is the Word. It's made from the Alpha and to the Omega, all the letters of the Logos. I will give to the ones thirsting from out of the spring of water of life without charge." Now he's talking to the people who are still on earth, that it's never too late. He's going to, everything he gives is free. Not for Jesus. Jesus paid the price. But if we're thirsting, then he will give from out of the spring of water of life, which I believe is a life through Jesus that we get. The one overcoming shall inherit all, and I will be to him God, and he will be to me a son. Overcoming the things, now I believe he's talking about the 144,000 and the people going through the tribulation, and they'll inherit all, and they will be I will be to him God, and he will be to me a son. But to the timid ones, and unbelieving ones, and sinful ones, and ones being abhorrent, and murderers and fornicators, and dealers in potions or drugs, drug dealers and idolaters, and to all liars, their part is in the lake burning with fire and sulfur, which is the second death, where the beasts, the false prophet, Satan, are. Timid, you don't want to make a decision. You want to live without making a decision for Christ, so therefore you'll miss. Unbelieving people that have made a decision, but they don't believe. I have a friend I talked to this morning. He doesn't believe it, none of it. This figures in death is the end of it. This earth is everything. The sinful ones. Now, my friend here, he may be sinful, but I don't know him. He's really a wonderful person. Does a lot of good things. Everything I see is very Christ-like, more so than a lot of Christians. But he's unbelieving. But then if somebody is a sinful, they may confess that they're Christians, but if they're living in sin, then, well, the judgment is on them. One's being abhorrent. It's abhorrent, like smelling, vetiligmenos, like passing gas. It's something that stinks, or a rotten egg. Ooh, you don't want to be around it. You run the opposite direction. God, you're abhorrent to God. He doesn't want anything to do with you. You stink too much. And murderers, people that have killed people, and they're continuing doing it. Fornicators, somebody that just lives for sex and has sex, doesn't care if married or not married. Idolatry. Dealers in potions. A lot of people today, it's all drugs, and we're making it illegal to have marijuana. Well, alcohol is legal, but alcohol, it's not the same. I mean, wine comes out of the ground. I guess somebody could argue a pot or marijuana is, but anyway. Dealers in potions that cause people to leave God or not to follow him. And idolaters, people that follow another god. All liars. Their part is in the lake burning with fire. So if you're one of these, then this is what you have to look forward instead of the second, on the New Jerusalem. Then verse 9, now is the end of one of the seven angels speaks to John. It came down one from out of the seven angels, and this is number 94 in our episodes of John. Being full of the ones coming down from the seven calamities, having the seven bowls, spoke to me, saying, "Come, I'll show to you the wife, the Gyneka, Gyne and the nominative, the wife or the bride." I'm sorry, not the wife. The wife, not the woman. So here you can see when it's wife, and at the beginning when he says a woman, then I said, well, no, I think it could be wife, and it's talking about the New Jerusalem. I hope you can see the tie-in if you go back to that chapter. The bride of the Lamb. So here the Lamb loves the bride, loves us, and we are the New Jerusalem he loves because he knows this is where we are going to be with him. And the Lamb carried me away in spirit upon a great and a high mountain. And this is probably then on earth, and showed to me the great city, holy Jerusalem, coming down from out of the heaven from God. So he's, I think it was the angel here that's showing him. And so he is seen on this high mountain. He sees this out in the sky. He looks, and there's like all of a sudden, here's this cube coming down, and it's sparkling all over the place and getting brighter and getting brighter and brighter, and he can see it. And I believe that was what blocked the sun from shining on the earth and the land for 4 hours when Christ was crucified. Came down. And it has the glory of God. Her luminescence was likened to precious stone, as to jasper stone, sparkling, so it's sparkling out there, having a great wall and high, and having 12 gatehouses. And upon the gatehouses, which were built into the wall, were 12 angels, and the names being inscribed, which is of the 12 tribes of the sons of Israel. So the sons of Israel lifted up, the names be on there. From the east, 3 gatehouses, from the north, 3 gatehouses, and from the south, 3 gatehouses, and from the west, 3 gatehouses. So we have these gatehouses that are in the wall like the city of Jerusalem on the earth had at the time of Jesus. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and upon them 12 names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And the one speaking with me had a golden reed measure, that angel, and that he should measure the city and her gatehouses and her wall. And that was the angel that had the bowls, one of the 7. And the city lies tetragonos, four-cornered. And the mikos, her length, is as much as the width. And so here the length and the width are the same. And so you would think, well, then that's just a regular flat city, which, yeah. And he measured the city by the reed unto 12,000 stadia. And I have stadiums. It should be stadia. I'm going to change it in the next version. Then he says the length and the width and the height of her were equal. So it has a height. If it didn't have a height, it wouldn't have height. So it has to have a height. I don't know how any way you can get rid of the height and just say it was a regular flat city. That would be like a plate coming down. The Flat Earth Society people would love it. But it's a height. And he measured her wall 144 cubits, and as I mentioned before, I think that was 225 feet. A measure of a man, which is of an angel, which it relates a man to an angel, so apparently they are similar size. And the edifice of her wall was jasper, and the city was pure gold like unto pure glass. And the foundations of the wall of the cities, where they had the names of the apostles, were adorned with every precious stone. The first foundation was jasper. Now it mentions all these stones, which are many of them. I'm not sure if all of them were on the chest plate of the high priest in the old temple. You can go back there, check it out, or go into our book, The Entities of Revelation. It goes into that in more detail. And the second was sapphire. The third, I'm going to give you the Greek words here. I think it'd be interesting. You can read the English. Iaspis. And the second, Saphiros. And the third, Halkidon. The fourth, Smaragdos. The fifth, Sardonyx. The sixth, Sardios, we call carnelian. The seventh, Chrysolithos. And the eighth, Virilos. The ninth, Topazion. The 10th, Chrysophrasos. The 11th, Iakinthos. And the 12th, Amethistos. There they are. And the 12 gatehouses were 12 Margaritae. A Margaret means pearl. And the girl's named Margaret. So each gatehouses were pearl. I'm not sure how that was, but each one of the gatehouses was from out of one pearl. Woo. Well, that would be a big clam that have one pearl that big. And the square of the city was pure gold, as transparent glass. So there was a square in the city. People could come. Now, where it's at in the middle, I don't know. If it's a cube, in the middle of the cube. And I saw not a temple in her, for the Lord God Almighty is her temple, and the Lamb. And the city has not a need of the sun, nor of the moon, that they should shine forth in her. For the glory of God gives her light, ephotison. And her lamp is the Arnion, the Lamb. And the nations shall walk. See, now here we got nations, so they're there on this earth. It moved by her light. They're going to see the light now. It's not going to be the sun and the moon, apparently, and it's going to be this brightness coming off of the New Jerusalem, and they're going to be aware of it. I don't know if they're going to know who's there or not. I don't know. And the kings of the earth shall bring the glory and their honor unto her. Now, whether they go inside or they come up to the gate and give the honor and the glory and the things, I don't know. And probably go inside because they have gatehouses. I don't know why they would have gatehouses if they didn't. And her gatehouses in no way should be locked by day, for night shall not be there. So we don't have the night. And they shall bring the glory and the honor of the nations unto her. The New Jerusalem, and in no way should enter into her anything common and committing abomination and a lie, only the ones being written in the scroll of the life of the Lamb. So now this is why I'm not sure if these people enter to her, or they go in just into the gatehouse and lay it there. But anything common, committing an abomination or lie, who the people are on the earth, if this is people that were resurrected and allowed to stay on the earth without going into the fire and brimstone, maybe people that had never heard of Christ. They never rejected him. They didn't know about him, never heard about him. I mean, it's got to be millions, because look at all the people that lived in the New World. They didn't know Christ. So I don't know. Don't have the answer there, but it's too bad there's a chapter break here, because it continues going on with this New Jerusalem and describing it. But we'll take a break here and finish up the book of Revelation in the next video, describing the rest of the city and the end of the matter. Hope you'll join us in chapter 22, and God bless.